Hi, everybody. I'm Liz,
And I'm Rob.
and together we are
Liz and
Liz and
Rob.
Rob.
We got
Batman
it. I think we finally got it.
Rob.
I think we got it. Okay.
Okay. You may notice our background is different. We are presently sitting at our friend's beach house, which we'll talk about in a little while. But I just wanted to do a little update for where we've been and why we haven't.
Well, let's start the show the way we would start the show.
Oh, right. Okay.
So wait, let's first off we'll go into this. What is this? You made me a tea. What is this tea?
This is a fruity Christmas tea,
Fruity Christmas tea, which was
fruity
my
Christmas.
gym nickname back in the sixth grade.
This is fruity Christmas tree, which a friend of mine gave me as a gift for Christmas.
It's very good.
And you guys know we always start out with a secret snack, but we are staying at a friend's house and it is very remote and there's no way to run out and get a secret snack. But what we did do was we had our friend come over and he always brings cannoli when he
Right,
comes.
and it has significance, which we'll go into
Yeah.
actually.
So anyway, our secret snack, our not so secret snack for each other is we said, let's save two of the cannoli.
These are delicious cannolis.
So I will have mine and you will
I
have
think you
yours.
can see it from there. Yeah.
I get the chocolate.
Yes, I know.
Okay. All right. All right. Thanks, everybody. And I think we're calling this a little bit of a comeback. Back in August, we had
Yeah.
done a series of shows.
Right.
And then the boys were finishing up their film. And although we continued to connect and have time together, we didn't have a lot of time to get together when we also had equipment available to
Right.
us.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
I contemplated once shooting it with the iPhone, but that would have I didn't want to compromise the quality of the show or anything like that. So
But anyway, there was nothing
yeah,
wrong, nothing going on. But the last 3 weeks, the last week of December, and then these 2 weeks, we've been staying at our friend's beach house, pet sitting. You may see the dog pop up. And so we wanted to use this time. We did a holiday reset. It's been kind of this peaceful, beautiful place. So
hmm
we wanted, before we leave, we wanted to just check in with everybody and let you know what's going on with all of us.
yeah.
So did you want to add anything? Because I want to buy the cannoli.
Okay. Well, let's see what's happened in the past couple of months. Just doing a lot of different work. I've been helping the boys in post production for their film Violet Hearts. We just started doing the editing process, which is a task in itself. It's a huge undertaking. So I'm really looking forward to that. It's some people think of it as overwhelming or things like that. I'm the opposite. I'm like I look forward to crafting something, because there's an old adage in filmmakers where it's that they say you make the film three times: once when you write it, once when you shoot it, and once when you edit it. So I'm looking forward to making a film the third time for them and with them, actually, not for them. And also our friend EJ has been, he shot a film, Drinking the Pain, a year and a half ago, 2 years, I think, and it did really incredibly successfully in the festival circuit. And he decided to make a new one, and the boys were busy making their film, so I took it upon myself to produce the film for him. And we sat and we really developed the script, and we spent some time shooting it rather than shooting it in just one day and turboing it through. We shot over a couple of days, and we had a really good crew with us, incredibly small but very great crew. And that's it. So we finished that, and so now that's in the editing process now too. I'm trying to think of what else we're doing. Just sort of also doing work for hire. With a little luck this year, we will start up. I'll start up again doing some more Sesame content. They're in a weird Nexus place right now because of they're no longer on HBO Max or whatever. But hopefully things will work themselves out, and I will do some more of those, which I would really be looking forward to doing. In the meantime, we've just been here enjoying watching crap tons of movies and writing. I've been doing some writing, so yeah,
So
that's me.
I wanted to just speak when we think about what we were talking about. I wanted to speak about what this space is, what it means to us, and what it means to my idea of community. So when I knew I was going to be here for 3 weeks, one of the things that I've been working on, all of y'all know that I've been doing. This is going to be our 12th year, right, of doing tea parties weekly in Bryant Park. And I've had a lot of people approach me about writing about it. And I decided that I wanted to make it a book. And as I started to write, I realized it wasn't only about the tea party, it was about the idea of beloved community. And I started to think about the places and spaces where I felt like I was truly a part of a community. And there have been many over my life. And so when I knew I was going to be here for 3 weeks, I thought I'm really going to work and focus on writing and seeing if I could get a good draft. And this is the, I want to say fourth year we've been coming to this space. And it
Hmm.
started out during COVID. Many of you know that my husband, Rob, went through a kidney transplant, and I went through a cancer diagnosis, and I was on chemo. And we have this beautiful friend. I met my friend Frances when I was her teacher. She was in the very first class I ever taught. And I have loved her since she's a little girl. And when you were recovering, and it was during
COVID. Hmm.
COVID, we needed a space you could recover. And she had a space she wasn't using, and she just said, go, recover. We spent 8 weeks at this beautiful space she had. And then when I started doing chemo that summer, she has family who lives overseas, and they spend some time there, and they have this beautiful dog. And she said, Liz, do you think you and Rob and the boys would like to come and watch the beach house and
I
take
know.
care of the dog?
Yeah. Do you think you'd like to spend a couple of weeks at a beach house and hang out with a wonderful dog and during the summer and even during the winter? Is that something you'd like? Do you think you'd be into that? So we reluctantly said
We
yes.
reluctantly
We
said yeah.
begrudgingly said yes.
But for for me, this space, it's so secluded. You have to go into town to even get a cup of coffee. And there's this beautiful wild nature. When people hear the beach, it's not sitting right on the beach, though they're only a block away, but it's very reedy, it's very
Hmm.
wild, it's so beautiful. And for me, it's a place of peace and recovery. And she really created it as this intentional space of welcoming and peace. And the last 3 weeks have been so beautiful and so powerful. And it's not only giving me time to do a spiritual reset as we move into the new year, but I've been super creative. You guys were making the film, working on the film, the boys are editing their film. And I started to draw again, which I haven't done in a very long time. And this is kind of the last thing I'll say before we open up just kind of the back and forth.
For questions.
No, I mean, open it up to
I
just
know, I
kind of
know.
a
Just saying.
freer conversation.
Right.
The one thing I
But
had
I also
wanted.
I do want to comment on the creative aspect of what you're saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
Back in the end of October, a friend of mine who's a professor at Fordham had asked me if I would be willing to do a tea party at Fordham Lincoln Center for the students. And I said, sure. And the date she picked was the day after the election. And that had long been settled. And so the day after November 8th, I did a tea party in Lincoln Center for the Fordham community. And it was really beautiful. There's this outdoor plaza between the two buildings, and we set up the tea. And it was a little bit of a different setup than what we usually do. There are little tables all around the plaza. And so we said, you can take a cup of tea, sit with your friends, come talk to us, however you want. And there were a group of people who wandered by. I didn't know who they were. And I offered them tea. And it ended up they are with a sketching group. I forget what they're called. And they meet regularly to sit in public spaces and sketch. And so when I said, well, you can just take the teacup, sit with your friends, sketch, and do what you're going to do, and just bring the teacup back. And then the word started to spread, and the person who was running it came over and said, or I don't know if there's someone who runs it, someone came over and said, everybody's sketching your cups. And they did, and it was really beautiful. And they brought me drawings they had done of the different cups. But then at the end of the day, a couple of the women came by and were sitting and had tea and sitting across in the area where I was. And I didn't realize till the end, and they came up, that the three of them had done sketches of me. And they were really beautiful and so inspiring. I thought they just sat there publicly and just had their pencils and sketched. And there's something very freeing and creative about that. So for Christmas, a friend gave me a sketch pad, and another friend gave me a drawing pad. So I said, every for the new year, every day I've just sat here in the evening and just sketched whatever's around me. I have beautiful sketches of Francis's lovely space, and it's just freeing. And they're not anything I would show anybody yet, and I'm working my way up to getting back to the drawing. But I'm really excited to just sit here, sketch, open those creative doors again. That's it.
Mm. I think just this particular location, because when we're home, we obviously we're doing creative things, um, but for me, it's like when the boys create, they have each other to bounce themselves around at 3 o'clock in the morning, or like you have your writing, or you have your, you can call someone, they'll call you, and they'll be, I'm kind of just on my own, which I'm actually okay with. But in that, combined with sort of the environment we're in at home, it's difficult for me to do creative things. Whereas here is open. It's there's something, and when I say open, I don't mean physically open. There's something creatively open about being here,
Yeah.
and it allows me it opens up the conduit from my brain to my hand, if that makes sense. For me to either draw or to type out a screenplay or something. So I enjoy being here because it really connects me to me. Um, and so yeah, so that's the reason why I like being here.
I also, that's interesting that you said that, and I have chocolate on my fingers. But one of the other things that I want to speak about, because obviously as I'm writing, I'm thinking a lot about community, what I think about community, the nature of community. And what I love about it is you joke that Francis said, "Do you think you guys might want to spend some time at the beach house and recover in peace and watch the dog?" And there are a couple of things, right? Of course, it's glorious and it's beautiful, but when we're here in the summer, you're really aware that you're watching someone's beach house during hurricane
Mm-hmm.
season. And
Truth be told, that's never happened.
no, it's never
It's
happened.
always been
I mean,
amazing
there's
here. Yeah.
sometimes there's been we've had flooding and different things, and you just are aware of it. But I also don't take it for granted the level of trust with someone
Mm-hmm.
trusting you to say, "Take care of my loved ones," and this beautiful dog. If you guys are friends on Facebook or whatever you or Instagram, you've seen pictures of us with Rocky. He's the sweetest, nicest dog, and
He's passed out. I mean, you can't see him. He's literally right here, but he's completely passed out. I'm gonna take
and
a picture of him so you can see what I'm talking about
the
in real time.
yeah, but what I love about community is that thing that is beautiful and wonderful for you
Yeah.
is probably also beautiful and wonderful for the other
Click. All right.
person.
When I say click, you'll see him in there.
Okay.
Okay. Go ahead.
And I mean, even I've started to think a lot about this, and I've talked about this with the Tea Party. Is we meet weekly, but people have really started to build community outside. I I'm trying to think. There's one young man, JP, and he had asked me if I had ever had roasted Japanese tea, and I never had. And now he makes sure that I always have Japanese roasted tea, and it's a favorite. And as soon as he knows we're getting a little low, he replenishes the box. And even little things like a friend of mine came here to have lunch at the beach house because she lives right near here. And she brought two things that she had that were brand new. I don't know how she came across them. She said, "I was going to donate these, but I figured, a lot of people, you might want them." And there was a brand new pair of sneakers, and there was a brand new winter coat. And another friend, I was just like, "Oh, this would fit them, and I think it's a style they would like." And we reached out and said, "Oh, is this something you would like?" And that idea that if you intentionally set up community, if you intentionally create this space where you're there for people and they're there for you, it creates this flow of, I don't know, generosity. It creates this flow of abundance. It creates this flow that just, I have found, makes it work easier for everyone. I don't know if you have a similar sense or you can.
No, yeah. I mean, basically what I said. That's kind of it. I mean, yeah. There. You're just talking about like in general a
In
community that's.
general, well, in communities where, based on that idea of loving and caring.
Right.
Right. Frances and I have loved each other, I don't even want to say how long, for decades. And our relationship has changed over the years, right? She was a little girl when I met her, but she was always so bright, and by bright, I don't only mean intelligent, which she was, but she was so curious and wanted to know about everything, and she was so excited about everything. And things like Facebook, it's why I'll stay on social media, kept us in touch over the years. And when right was it right before COVID, right after COVID, what brought the families together, I was in touch with Frances always, but we would go out and we would meet for lunch, and we
Hmm.
would be outside, and we went to the US Open together. And but what brought the families together was when Jake was making his first film, and he was looking for an actor to play the little girl in his film. And I said, Frances has a daughter, and I know she dances, I know she performs, maybe she'd be interested. And we got together with them with that idea of creating something together. And now her son is in the boys' new film, and he has a beautiful scene with you.
Hmm.
And I think there's this idea, when you connect with that sense of love and caring, it creates these spaces. I just use the word where magic can happen. And if love flows, then other things flow.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's certainly fair. Even with the going back to summer with the boys, having them have they've essentially manufactured this amazing community of local filmmakers that are like-minded. Most of them, they're the same age, and they all just work in each other's films. Whereas, you know, that might not be the case if they were anywhere else. I mean, this it really is kind of great to watch them create a community as well.
And I like that we've been able to have that be, because you're also working on the film, and I helped feed the crew. We know them, and we get to know these beautiful creative people in our sons' lives. And what I really, I'm trying to think. Oh wait, I was going to say something. Keep going, because I forgot what I was going to say, but it'll come back. Oh, this is what I want to say. You mentioned working with this people from Sesame,
Mm-hmm.
and years ago when the boys were little, and you were working on the No Strings productions,
Mm-hmm.
which were really, it was the same people behind the Muppets. It was the same people who,
Yeah, and No Strings was an
yeah,
independent company that made these wonderful puppet shorts for children at risk parts of the world. So, the first time I worked with them, they worked on a puppet film that taught kids not to stand, to warn kids about landmines in Afghanistan. We went on to all the different disasters in Indonesia, earthquake, volcano. I mean, Indonesia's
tsunami.
tsunami, which was the first one I ever
Mm-hmm.
directed. And Haiti and Africa, and so and so I got to know all these puppeteers who are on Sesame Street.
And well, and the boys, and when they got old enough,
Right.
there were times when I was still working. When the boys were little, I was still working, and you would bring them
I'd bring them on set.
to
Yeah,
meetings, and because they were so well behaved, you would bring them on set, and they really had this experience both. And then as soon as they were old enough, they
right.
would go and
Once they were 14 and could get their working papers,
they worked on
they were
set.
hired.
And there may be other sets that are as professional as like a Muppet level set, but
Sure.
there aren't ones that are more professional.
Right.
And I think one of the things the boys saw was, you go in, you do your job, you be prepared, you be super professional, you work at a very high level, and everyone knew what their job was. Everyone was trusted to do their jobs, but they were also really kind and
No,
go ahead.
keep going because
I was going to say
I'm
kind
emphasizing
and
that. Yeah.
welcoming to the boys, and they really educated the boys and opened that.
Right. I recently just had this conversation. I don't know who I had a conversation with, but it was talking about guys like Brad Pitt and George Clooney, and everyone talked about how in real life these guys are really nice. They're really, they're really nice in real life. They're cool people in real life, and the same thing happens. And the reason why, I'm not saying the reason why they're so successful is because they're nice, but the reason why they've stayed for so long is because people want to work with them. And when you're that level of nice, even on like these puppet projects, it's one thing to be professional. I mean, there are plenty of professional people who are jerks and kind of like
We don't know any of those
I
people,
actually
though.
don't. No,
No, we
I well, I
don't.
no, I will say no. I will say I
We've been
do,
very lucky.
but I'm not working with them.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And so, when they're nice, it's a good thing that they can. You want to work. Do you want to work with them again? Because would you rather work with someone who knows what they're doing and is nice, or someone who knows what they're doing is a jerk? The reality is, you're going to pick column A, and so I think that was part of what they learned on that set, that you can work together and be nice.
And I remember the last set, and we didn't know it was. I don't know what we would have felt if we had known it was going to be the last set, but
Right.
obviously, COVID interrupted those productions, and they haven't. They've continued in different forms. But when we were finishing up that last set, that we didn't know that was the last set, Jake said, "Mom, I never don't want to be working on this set.
Yeah.
I never don't want to be working on a set like this." And I said, "Well, that's going to be up to you.
Yeah.
That's going to be up to you to create it."
Well, I remember the first time Josh worked on a set, and so you're talking, he was 14. So this is literally 11 years ago.
Yeah,
He's been working in the film industry. He's 25 years old. He's been working in the film industry for 11 years.
yeah.
And the last day we had, it wasn't the last day, it was a wrap party. And we left, and I remember we walked out, and we said our goodbyes to everybody, and we walked out in the parking lot, and he was 14. He started crying, and I said, Why are you crying?" He said the same thing. "I don't ever want to leave." He said,
Mm.
these people are like my family. And it's funny because I think a lot of us who are in the business take that for granted. Like when you work on a feature for a long time, you go, "Oh, it's like working with a family," but when you're that age, you realize, "Oh, your family, this is a family that," but then again, of course, the following year we would all come back together again. So it became
Yeah,
something you look forward to. And I think in a lot of ways too, then they understood the concept of not just so much building community, but also building family. They do build a family of people that they work with on a regular basis, and start and even though now they're finished filming Violet Hearts, they are now moving on to other projects, which they are still working with a lot of these same people on a creative level, and
yeah.
writing, and what have you.
And I think about really how you seeded that. And the other thing that I think was important that they learned too was really terrific storytelling.
Hmm.
Those films that you guys made were beautifully told, beautiful stories. And I remember Jake, specifically, I was talking about him because his first film, which is available, it's called Even the Darkness Has Arms. You can find it on YouTube. It's a beautiful little fairy tale. And there's puppets involved. And he made it during COVID. And uh, I guess after that, we were looking through some of the films that you guys had worked on.
Yeah.
And he said, "Mom, we were literally raised using puppets to help us process trauma. So it makes sense when we started making films during COVID. We were using puppets to help us process the trauma." And I thought that was an interesting lesson that we didn't teach on purpose, but it was interesting
Yeah.
when they learned that that kind of storytelling, that kind of process can really help you transform something that was difficult into a creative response in the face of something that's frightening or scary.
Right.
And I think that's something they've held on to as well.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what you were going to say something
I
else.
don't remember.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
that's okay.
But yeah, no, that's absolutely it. And again, again, so much of it is being nice. Like I said, those people who I haven't worked with because they're not nice, I've worked with them for decades. And they're still working. Those people are still working. But I think there's something about being on set with people who nice. I think also breeds a chemistry. Nice breeds a chemistry of creativity, and I think if there's a resistance to not being nice. If you're just there to do your job and walk out, and you don't have to be nice to anyone or be a bit of a jerk or whatever, that's fine. You'll get the film will still get made, and you will get paid. But there's something attractive creatively about people who, because once you're nice, then you develop a chemistry. Once you develop a chemistry, you develop an attraction, and once you develop that attraction, you start to weed out the types of things that you like and that you may not necessarily like. And once you start doing all of those things, you find this common ground of things you want to work with and write about and create these projects.
And you know what else I think is another part of it? Because nice can mean different things to
Mm-hmm.
different people.
Yes.
But what I also love is when you work with people and you trust them.
Mm-hmm.
That also breeds a powerful community, right? Because I think one of the things I watched on those sets, and I was in the background, was people knew their job. They came in, they did it, and they were trusted to come in and do their job. And as I was watching the boys, and I've seen you do it as well, and they've seen you do it. As I was watching the boys, they hired people that they trusted because they'd worked on other things with
Mm-hmm.
them, and then they say you do your job, and they did. They didn't. Obviously, it's their job, it's their vision, but you trust the person to do the thing you hired them to do,
Well, that's
and
it.
then
Yeah.
that gives a creative buy-in.
Yeah.
It's
I've
my
always,
project as
yeah,
well.
I've
Yeah.
always said that. I said, you hire people you trust. And the second you do that, you only have one job after that, to trust them.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think there was this creative play that I enjoyed watching as they made their film, and I think they learned that. I do love that they learned that from you from the very. I say it a lot. I probably said it on one of these other episodes, but when they were 2 and 4, all they wanted to do was play and make movies with their dad, and now they're in their 20s, and all they want to do is play and make movies with their dad. And I think I don't know. I think there's something really beautiful about that. So, yeah, that was it. We just wanted to make sure before we left here that we told you a little bit about what we've been working on, why this space was
Mm-hmm.
so important to us.
Plus, we'll be coming back more frequently
Yeah,
now.
yeah,
We have
no,
time to, yeah.
we're gonna do our
So yeah,
best.
you'll see more episodes. You
Yeah,
won't have to wait 8. How long was it?
I
4 months or
don't know.
some
I
ridiculous
don't
thing.
know. Probably 3 months.
Yeah.
But if you don't see us, it just means we got a little busy. But we're gonna try to do it regularly.
Yes.
Okay, that's
Right.
it.
Is that it?
You have anything else you want to say?
Not that I can think of.
Yeah, I just wanted to, like I said, I wanted to particularly do this episode here where I have such a deep sense of gratitude and a deep sense of peace. And I did a lot of really spiritual work. We can talk another time, and clearing of stuff that I think the real test is now when we leave kind of fairyland and go back into the real world. Can you keep that level of peace
Mm-hmm.
and loving connection
Yeah.
as you move back into reality?
I think the
And
trick
that's the
is to. You're
challenge.
right. The trick is to bring the trick is to bring this there
Yeah,
versus leaving this here.
absolutely, absolutely.
You know what I mean? And because then it comes across as like the grind or the thing we got to go back to.
Yeah, yeah,
Versus if we bring this there,
yeah,
that spreads.
yeah. And I really am leaving here. We're gonna be leaving here later on tonight
Later on today, yeah. Today's our last day.
with this sense of intentionally making sure we bring it back, because there really was such creative and spiritual flow and beauty on this visit, and I want to make sure we keep that with us.
Right.
All right, that's it.
Is that it?
Yeah,
All right. We're done.
we're
Okay.
done.
All right.
Ready?
We finished our cannolis. Almost done with our tea.
Now I can go wash the chocolate off my hands.
I'll go wash the chocolate over your hands, and I will. I don't know. Keep packing because we got to get out of here soon.
All right, I love you.
All right. Love you too.
Bye. Mwah.
Bye.